Hi friends, my name is Chaitanya Patke and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to analyze the 4 days play between India and England. The first test which took place and concluded unfortunately for the Indian side. India lost the test by 28 runs and it is one of the most shocking defeats of Team India and on the contrary, one of the most magnificent and shocking wins for England in their test cricket history. Nobody expected after day 2 that England will win in such a dominant position in a span of just 48 hours, but that is the beauty of test cricket. We saw that in Australia versus West Indies as well, but this was an abject capitulation and surrender by Team India, which needs a thorough introspection. And why the hell our batsmen were not able to play spin well, despite the fact of being grown up in subcontinent conditions, in Indian conditions, where we are expected to dominate, where our batsmen are expected to use their feet. But I will get into the technical deficiencies of our batsmen later. First of all, I would like to congratulate Tom Hartley, 7 wicket haul on his debut, and I was one of the few persons after day 2, 2 or 3 days ago, I posted a video saying that he is only in the playing 11 due to the absence of Shoaib Bashir because he was dealing with the visa issue. But anyways, he has proved me wrong. He has proved countless Indian fans wrong, and he has proved his own fans in England wrong as well, because they were absolutely on his tail after his horrendous outing in the first innings. But he has redeemed himself with a 7 for in India, and what a way to come back. So congratulations to Tom Hartley as well, one of the most magnificent displays by an overseas spinner in Team India. In India, I would say we have to just bring Tom Hartley into the category of Nathan Lyon or Monty Panesar or Graham Swan in the 2012 tour, which ironically remains that side is the last team to defeat India in a test series, despite the fact that we lost this game due to our own harakiri. India are still the favorites in the remaining 4 tests, but this test we could have won, we should have won. And what were the reasons for an capitulation? We will see. First of all, England began the 4th day at 316 for 6. England added 104 runs more to their kitty, which eventually proved to be the turning point. Unfortunately, Oli Pope, who thoroughly deserved a 200, got out playing a reverse sweep to Jasprit Bumrah, but there was absolutely no option because he was the last batsman remaining. And one of the greatest innings you will ever see by an Englishman or any player from SENA countries, that is South Africa, England, New Zealand or Australia, coming to the playing and coming to the Indian shores. He swept very well, reverse swept very well, converted ones into twos, rotated the strike, did everything perfectly, had an open stance, and just played couple of dil scoops as well, which rubbed more salt into the wounds of the Indians. But Mr. Rahul Dravid, the coach of the Indian cricket team, also acknowledged two facts: that in the first innings when India was playing, 70 runs more were needed, and he also pointed out to the batsmen, of course without taking their names, that they needed to convert the 80s into the hundreds. That would have made a difference, because India eventually lost by only 28 runs, but the shots that some of the batsmen played were equally horrendous as well. We have to give credit to Tom Hartley, but the player of the match was deservedly Oli Pope for his magnificent 196, and there was a standing ovation given to him by Barmy Army as well as the Indian fans, which was well deserved. Ravichandran Ashwin took the wicket of Tom Hartley, who contributed 34 runs of 52 deliveries, including 4 boundaries as well. That can also be a differentiator, you would presume, because he reverse swept couple of balls of 4. He played 2 shots straight down the ground which went for a boundary of Ravichandran Ashwin as well as Ravindra Jadeja, so that unsettled the Indian batsman. And Mr. Rahul Dravid also said that chasing 231 in 4th innings, where he knew that the pitch was actually going to break from the start of the 4th day onwards, was always going to be an uphill task. But with all due respect to our coach, that is no defense of our horrendous batting performance, because we are Indians, we are expected to play spin better, and if India won't chase down this target, who else will? Do you expect Australia or New Zealand or the South African batsman to chase 231 on a breaking Indian pitch on the 4th day? No, the answer is simply the Indian batsman must be well equipped to play very nicely, because since right from the young age, right from the Ranji Trophy, India A tours, etc., etc., Dulip Trophy matches, Vijay Hazare Trophy matches. These sort of pitches are available in India, and we need to play nicely, which we unfortunately didn't. Jasprit Bumrah took the wicket of Rehan Ahmed. He also scored 23 runs, although he contributed just 7 to his overnight total. So all in all, England led by 230, all out for 420, and Team India was absolutely nowhere in this game. The wicket of Mark Wood was taken by Ravindra Jadeja with a fantastic catch by Shrikar Bharat behind the wickets. Tom Hartley was clean bowled by Ravichandran Ashwin, and Jack Leach was not out on 0. So India 231 to win. We actually started very brightly. Rohit Sharma hit 7 boundaries in his innings of 38, but unfortunately he played for the turn where the turn wasn't available. The ball from Tom Hartley was a Jaffer pitched on good length, and the Rohit Sharma completely misread it, and that started the downfall of Team India. That was the third wicket. The urgency was shown by the Indian team management by promoting Akshar Patel to number 5 to combat the spinners of England. That strategy actually seemed to work for a bit, but unfortunately he got out playing a very loose and pathetic shot on 17 to Tom Hartley, straight away caught and bowled, which just opened the floodgates for England, and Indian batsmen capitulated like 9 pins. The start was Yashasvi Jaiswal was good as well. He only hit a couple of boundaries, but Indian batsmen need to learn to convert their starts into big scores, and he danced down the track to the delivery, played a very half-hearted shot with a simple catch taken by Oli Pope at short square leg, which he was pretty disappointed with his dismissal. Another horrendous outing for Shubman Gill in this game. Second ball duck, and a knife is out because 16 innings in his last 16 test innings he has crossed the 50 barrier only once. So he needs to grind out in Ranji Trophy or domestic cricket, but I think the team management will give him a second chance. But a test match at Vishakhapatnam, if he doesn't perform, might well be his last one for a long period of time. He is excellent batter in ODI format as well as T20 cricket, but test cricket, as he found out, is a completely different kettle of fish, and he needs to shore up his game. He wasn't his usual self, didn't in both of the innings I am analyzing, he wasn't his usual self, absorbed a lot of dot balls which you would expect from a batsman which is out of form. But one striking aspect of Shubman Gill as well as all the Indian batsmen was that they didn't use their feet at all, due to which Shubman Gill came under more pressure, and all the thoughts going on in the mind, there is only failure in sight, and that's precisely what happened with Shubman Gill. Excellent catches by Oli Pope as well at short fine leg, and Silly at short fine leg as well, couple of catches, excellent. He was excellent with his positioning, his eyes were on the balls, and it is very difficult to field at short leg for a foreign fielder, but he did it magnificently well. 196 with the bat, 2 magnificent catches of Indian batsmen. It was Oli Pope all over. Rohit Sharma was LBW. Yashasvi Jaiswal scored just 15. KL Rahul actually looked in very good nick. He scored 22 of 48 deliveries, including 3 boundaries. But as I mentioned few moments ago, on this sort of a pitch, how you need to bat. Actually, Indian batsmen, was their fault, or they were too timid, or the capitulation in the second test against South Africa was weighing heavy on their mind. They decided that they will go into their shell or just attack whenever possible, because as you know that the overs weren't a problem. India needed to chase down 231 in actually 154 overs. So it was a game of wickets for England and runs for Team India. Overs were completely out of the picture, but the Indian batsmen mostly played from the crease when the ball stayed low or turned sharply. Mostly played from the crease. In the case when the ball turned low or kept low or turned sharply, they had very little time to adjust their bat. 5 Indian batsmen as a consequence were actually caught in the short mid wicket region, or the fielders nearby, or they were bowled or LBW. So that is a technical deficiency which needs to be sorted out by head coach Rahul Dravid as well as batting coach Vikram Rathore. What is preferable on such sort of a tracks? That on a slow track where the odd ball was keeping low, especially on the low patches, on the fuller length, English bowlers actually did very well, that they attacked the stumps and and let the natural variation do the trick. Now in such sort of cases, even the English spinners didn't know actually whether the ball pitched in good length will actually be left alone by the batsman, or that will jagged back in. So some assistance from the track they got, because the pitch was breaking on the fourth day. And we have to I have to advise the Indian batsman that you should be using your feet or taking some long stride. That has one advantage, that it puts immediately the LBW out of the equation, as well as the bowlers start to bowl very short, which is the strength of the Indian batsman, so that they can cut or pull, or by any means necessary at least get the scoreboard moving. That was not done by the Indian batsman. After the lunch break, when Oli Pope got out playing that reverse sweep at 196, I am talking about the time between the start of the second session and the lunch break, that the English spinners including Jack Leach, Tom Hartley, Rehan Ahmed as well as Joe Root were constantly targeting the stumps in practice. So that actually shows a very clarity of thought, clear minding, that they were going to attack the stump right from the onset, come what may, because India were favorites despite the fact that we had 231 to chase. But that turned out very differently. So kudos to team management of England and head coach Brendan McCallum for actually telling them that we are going to target the stumps no matter what, and they persisted with the strategy excellently well. Another failure for Shreyas Iyer in the test format, 17 of 42 deliveries, 3 boundaries. His wicket was taken by Jack Leach, a very poor shot with Joe Root taking a simple catch in the slip. That dismissal actually, a little bit of hope was there for Team India. That hope was completely dashed due to Shreyas Iyer's dismissal. Once again poking outside the off stump where he didn't need to. He could have absolutely left the ball, but he's so short of confidence in the test arena that he's playing such stupid shots. And I don't know when Shubman Gill and Shreyas Iyer will learn. They have come into the playing 11 in the place of stalwarts like Ajinkya Rahane and Cheteshwar Pujara. Although they are a huge boots to fill in, but chances are running out for both of them, and they need to turn up in in Hyderabad. I beg your pardon. In Vishakhapatnam, I beg your pardon. So Ravindra Jadeja was run out by a magnificent throw of Ben Stokes. This was a guy who has had knee surgery, but still he left forward. He dived and just flicked the ball. Ravindra Jadeja had absolutely no chance. Ben Stokes was astonished himself by his superlative effort, but that is the sort of spark needed for victory, and Ben Stokes' commitment is never in doubt. Shrikar Bharat and Ravichandran Ashwin played actually pretty well. They tried to delay the inevitable, but Shrikar Bharat was bowled by an absolute jaffer by Tom Hartley when he was on 28 of 59 deliveries, 3 boundaries, and the grimace on the face of Shrikar Bharat told the story, because if he had stayed for at least 15 to 20 minutes, things could have been different. A horrendous shot from Ravichandran Ashwin to get out. He was stumped by Ben Stokes of the bowling of Hartley when India needed 47 or 48, I think 54 or 55 more runs. Ravichandran Ashwin needs to understand that he has 5 test hundreds. He could have literally, because this field was spread out from Ben Stokes, so he could have literally converted ones into twos, or otherwise given confidence to Jasprit Bumrah. Bumrah also has a 50 against England, as you know, a couple of years ago, 1.5 years ago, sorry. So he could have given confidence to Jasprit Bumrah. Who knows, England might have just wilted under the pressure, but he tried to slog that ball from Hyderabad to Tamil Nadu and it didn't come off. The ball stayed low, easy stumping to Ben Stokes. Afterwards, still there was a lot of hope remaining, I would say. People would say, what am I saying? Only 1 wicket to go, 49 runs to go. But actually, Siraj scored a boundary towards mid wicket. He also rotated the strike. And yeah, who knows, 29-30 runs were still required. Once into twos, there was a question of temperament. Although both Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj weren't going to look pleasing to the eye because they were tail-enders. But yeah, they could have just delayed the inevitable, and soon, if the deficit was down to 20 runs, we lost the game by 28 runs, right? So the deficit was, they could have added 7 or 8 runs more. England would have really started to panic because they would have hope. They just need one delivery to win the match, but what if that one delivery doesn't come? So yeah, they must be very dreadful shots, especially by Siraj and Ashwin. But on the contrary, I would have no expectations from these two because our top order couldn't click. I don't expect both of them to. First of all, I don't expect both Ashwin and Siraj to come out to bat. We should have won the match pretty comfortably. But what thing wasn't done by the top order batsman, you wouldn't, on the other hand, expect it from the lower order batsman as well. So, all in all, a day to forget for Team India, and the hype around Bazball is particularly real. Even the English supporters, the Barmy Army, didn't give England a chance, but they turned around the game, and how. So, all in all, India has their task cut out. Despite the fact of playing on rank turners, we ourselves don't know, because our technique is so pathetic against spin bowlings, despite being the home country, what we will expect. So, yeah. Root in 19 overs, 3 maidens, gave away 44 runs, took the wicket of KL Rahul, which he went round the wicket for it, and just he was just darting the balls just like darts. He was throwing the ball at the cricket stumps, and it eventually worked. The pathetic mindset of KL Rahul also helped, but anyways, Wood in 8 overs gave away 15 runs. It didn't took any wicket. Tom Hartley was the star of the show. 26.2 overs, 5 maidens, 62 runs, 7 wickets. Varied his pace pretty nicely. Bowled exactly stump to stump, which was the plan. Executed it to the hilt, and yeah, one of the greatest performances by an overseas spinner. So congratulations to Tom Hartley. It also goes on to show that whatever your start is, people will always remember you for your finish. He had worst figures in the first innings. People were questioning his temperament, his ability to bowl, and how he has turned things around. Good for him. Jack Leach in 10 overs, 1 maidens, gave away 33 runs, took the wicket of Shreyas Iyer, and Rehan Ahmed was expensive, but that didn't cost England. In 6 overs, he gave away 33 runs. So, all in all, a pathetic performance from Team India, and hopefully, we will bounce back in Vishakhapatnam. But congratulations to England. They must celebrate and savor this victory for a long, long time. So, how did you like my analysis of the first test? Please tell in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and press the bell icon for further notifications. We'll meet in the next video. Till then, everyone, bye.